In 1862 London, scientist James Glaisher and his pilot Amelia arrive for the launch of the largest balloon ever constructed. Despite being haunted by a vision of her late husband Pierre, Amelia keeps up the brave front and the balloon successfully launches to a cheering crowd. In a flashback, James appears before the Royal Society and explains his theory that the weather can be predicted, but his fellow scientists mock him and refuse to finance his studies. Returning home, he talks to his parents, who try to persuade him to pursue another avenue of science. On the balloon, James and Amelia start rising through the cloud layer. They soon run into a violent storm which sends the balloon spinning. In a flashback, Amelia is persuaded by her sister Antonia to attend a social function. There, Amelia is approached by James and he asks if she would be willing to pilot his balloon in a privately funded expedition while he attempts to prove his theories, to which she agrees. Although James suffers a head injury while being thrown around, he and Amelia make it through the storm and continue rising. James releases the first of 5 pigeons carrying messages stating the current altitude along with other scientific readings in case they don't survive. They discover an air current that is home to a group of butterflies, confirming a theory of James' friend John True that insects can travel on air currents. In a flashback, as James practices for the flight, Amelia visits to tell him she's changed her mind. John goes to see Amelia that night to convince her, saying that she must advance the cause of science. Amelia then goes to Pierre's grave to reflect. When it begins to snow, which John told her James had predicted, she decides to go with him after all. Eventually, the balloon exceeds 23,000 feet, 7.0 kilometers, beating the record for the highest altitude. Amelia is shocked to learn that James didn't bring any clothes suitable for the rapidly decreasing temperature and decides to start descending. James refuses, and the two argue. Amelia agrees to keep rising but makes it clear to James that they'll have to start descending soon. James starts experiencing hypoxia from the altitude as they ascend, but insists they continue and tries to stop Amelia from descending. He relents only when Amelia tells him the story of how Pierre sacrificed himself to save her during a balloon flight. Amelia discovers the gas release valve on top of the balloon is frozen. As James falls unconscious, she has no choice but to climb up the outside of the balloon and open the valve from the top. With frostbite setting in on her hands, she struggles to wedge her boot in the valve, causing a slow release of the gas. Amelia loses consciousness and topples over the side but is saved by her rope tether. When she awakens, Amelia manages to swing back to the balloon and rouse James. As they continue to descend, snow begins to hover around them, indicating that the balloon is collapsing from the loss of too much gas. They manage to close the gas release and throw everything they can over the side, including all of James' equipment. When this doesn't work, they climb into the framework and release the basket. Realizing that Amelia is ready to sacrifice herself to save him, James can convert the rest of the balloon into a parachute, which slows their descent. They crash through trees and hit the ground hard, with Amelia being dragged along behind the balloon. She wakes and calls for James, who staggers towards her. Both are injured, but euphoric that they managed to survive, setting a new human flight altitude record of 37,000 feet, 11.3 kilometers. James' findings prove the existence of layers in the atmosphere, paving the way for the first weather forecasts, and he and Amelia build a new balloon so they can continue to conduct research together. To watch more video like this, click on the videos on your screen and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last I will say stay safe and stay healthy. See you next videos.